made a call for 1:30, but we had to postpone it a few minutes because the necessary documents are being prepared to prior to having the session. So we'll be beginning the session momentarily. In the meantime, I ask everyone in the chamber, members, staff, to put your phone on silent mode before we get into our official meeting. Thank you. Buenas tardes. I'd like to convene our Senate session this afternoon. And before I officially call the roll, I would like to thank everybody for being here, staff and the viewing public. That I think we have the access for both portal, Facebook, and channel 23 of our local cable TV. So with that, I now call this emergency session, fourth regular session to order. At this time, I would like to recognize the clerk to effectuate or to call the roll to approve the emergency session and also to effectuate a quorum for this session. And the reason for this call is to address the budget FY 2023, officially called House Bill 22-116 HD2 SS1. And that's the reason why we are having this emergency session. It's September 30 at approximately 14:04 in the afternoon. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Cruz,
Here.
Senator De Jong Guerrero,
Here.
Senator Hoku. Here. Mr. President,
Hanggan, Gaigi.
Senator King Neighbor,
Kaya.
Senator Kiruba, Senator Manglonia, Senator Sablan,
Gaya.
Senator Santos. Mr. President, 8 members are present, 1
With-
absent.
With 8 members present, 1 absent, we have the necessary quorum to conduct this session. And also, we met the 2/3 requirement to approve of the emergency call for this afternoon. And let the record reflect, the Senator Paul Manglonia is hereby excused from this session. Moving on, under public comment, item B, and this is the portion of our meeting that we allow the members of the public to comment on any of the order of business before the Senate this morning or this afternoon. Let the record reflect there's none. And if there is no objection from the members, I would like to move on to item G, communications from the House. Clerk?
Mr. President, we have on our agenda 1 item, 22-129.
Any comments from the members? Communications from the Senate?
We have 2, Mr. President, 22-185 and 186.
Any comments, discussion? Thank you. And again, Chair recognizes the urgency of this session, so we're going to skip the items I, J, K, L, and M and go straight to item N under reports of Special Conference Committee. I now recognize the floor leader to offer the appropriate motion for consideration on Joint Conference Committee Report number 22-02. Floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today's emergency session under item N of the agenda, reports of special and conference committee. We have 1 item, and this is Joint Conference Committee Report number 22-02. From the Joint Conference Committee reporting on House Bill number 22-116, HD2 SS1 CCS1, to make appropriations for the operations and activities of the government of the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, its agencies, instrumentalities, and independent programs, and to provide budget authority for government corporations for the fiscal year 2023 and for other purposes. Mr. President and members, I move for its adoption.
There's been a motion offered by the floor leader for the adoption of House Bill number or Conference Committee Joint Conference Committee Report number 22-02 as articulated by the floor leader, and it's been seconded. Under discussion. And under discussion, if I may, I recognize now our chairman, Senator Victor B. Holcock.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, I'd like to extend my appreciation to your appointees to join the House conference as appointed by the Speaker and to come up with a product of understanding. And I guess, Mr. Speaker, I need not have to read the whole committee report, as it is self-explanatory to the members. But what I can probably just enumerate a few lines here that your committee deliberated and focus its effect on the major differences between the House and the Senate. between the House Bill number 22116 HD2, was the House version, and House Bill number 22116 HD2 SS1 were in the with the Senate version. And during our conference committee meetings, the primary issue were discussed, included but not limited to the following: A to D. On the first, on the second page, about the 80/20 funding for personnel, and some changes on the title, section 101 and section 102, the purpose, and section 103 on all the definition. 501 is the reprogramming authority. 703 is the judicial branch concerned, the legislative branch and the executive branch, and the schedule A, B, and C in the worksheet. The significant product of both conference committee is, we all agreed to take the 80/20 funding for personnel, where the conference agreed to the Senate version to fund the government personnel at 80% using local revenue and 20% using ARPA, provided that some of the concern from the House conference pertaining to the 25% retirees pension benefit, Medicaid, match, and the judicial budget are also addressed. And accordingly, the conference requests the President of the Secretary of Finance, Mr. David De Longuerero Atalic, to provide further clarification and concern raised by the House conference, in addition to clarifying the discrepancy in the information provided to both houses of the legislature. And your conference, before addressing all these underlying concern from the House, your Senate conference member uh, stick to the Senate version the to change the 2080 to 80/20 using the local funds. And I aired to the conference that without addressing the 80/20 first, we cannot continue to discuss other concern from the House conferees. So if they're agreeing the to return to substitute the 2080 in lieu of 80/20, then that's how your committee proceed with the other concern by the House, where it was discussed and addressed before the whole conference committee is smoothly, without without any much concern regarding the Medicaid uh, matching fund, as well as the 25% 25% retirement no pension benefit. And this is the main issue that your conference came up with a good product. And with that, Mr. President, we finally come to a conclusion to agree to accept the discussion and all the amendment to House Bill 222, House Bill 22-116, HD2 SS1, and now it is now the product of CC1. And we are assured that, you know, the testimony of the Secretary of Finance assured all the conference last night that the 25% for the retirees are secured throughout the fiscal year 2000, the first quarter of this year, and the remaining 3 quarters of the following year. So a total of 13 million in whole for the 25%. And the 7.2 also through the Secretary of Finance testimony and assurance that he secured already 7.2 million to be used from CDL to guarantee the matching fund for the Medicaid. We have also addressed the concern of the House with respect to the to the judicial concern, wherein the House reduced some of their uh, budget, and also the Secretary of Finance made that commitment that uh, they will use the ARPA funds to restore the operation for fiscal year 2023 using fiscal year 2022 allotment from ARPA funds. So, with that understanding, Mr. President, your committee is move forward in adopting this committee report before us for adoption. And I would also like, Mr. President, to let the members know that there was also additional request made for the island of Rhoda to fund one personnel for the Department of Finance as an account clerk, and one also for the procurement and supply, and Rota revenue and taxation, and also inclusive is one adjustment for the legislative bureau staff. And all of this funding are coming up from the ARPA funds that will fund this new position for the island of Rhoda and bureau here. And I and the House recommended that we collapse the no, just give me 1 second. The equitable adjustment to collapse that, and we further agreed to distribute that funding to the island of Rhoda, Mayor's Office, Tinian, and Saipan, and the Northern Island. And with that distribution of funding, the new position identified in this worksheet will be taken out from the Rota Mayor allotment from the funds taken out on the Equitable Adjustment Fund. Uh, we try to uh, convince the House counterpart regarding the Senate position to provide a dollar amount to establish the business unit to create a liaison office to all the respective areas that medical referral patients are being referred to. Nonetheless, the House decided to not to consider that provision as the Senate have provided in their Senate substitute bill. So all those changes, your committee, your conference committee, accepted the House request to to agree with what the House would like to do in this budget worksheet. So with that, Mr. President, we have now the product of your conference committee. And before I end, I would like to you also and provide the opportunity to the other two conference and the substitute, the alternate, if they have any statement to make before we move forward with this bill. Thank you.
Si si Chairman Victor Hokuk, Senator, as he explained and as he yield, now the chair recognize any member of the conferee committee that would like to offer statements. I recognize the floor leader, Senator Vinny Sablan.
Thank you, Mr. President. And just to follow on the statement of our chairman, Senator Hokuk, who chaired the Senate conferees in this conference committee. First, I'd like to thank you, Senate President, for placing your trust and confidence in your conferees to represent the position of the Senate. We'd like to also, I'd like to also thank the members of the Senate conferees for their professionalism and also thank the staff of the Senate side. I did give my appreciation in this morning's meeting to all the staff, even the House. But I like to give a sincere gratitude to our staff, our fiscal analysts, David Mapan, who really spent months, days, hours, down to the minutes and seconds in really providing us the support in giving us numbers and explaining all the budget numbers to us and also to our legislative assistants as well, Jolene and Devin and our sergeant at arms and all of our staff. I'd like to thank them for being the support. Without them, we wouldn't have really performed in a smooth manner. And also like to thank the House conferees for their professionalism as well. We all walked into this chamber yesterday with one goal, and that was to prevent a government shutdown and to provide comfort to our people. And that goal was obtained, and it was only obtained through the patience and understanding and professionalism of all the conferees from the House and the Senate. We did compromise on several concerns and issues on the language and the numbers, but it was the position of the Senate to revert back the 80-20 funding of personnel back to the Senate version, which 80% would be funded by the general fund. We stated the significance of ARPA staying with the status quo due to the spending plan that was approved by U.S. Treasury. It was very significant that we made the conferees understand that it would be very detrimental to change the plan in the middle of the ball rolling to expend these funds for the operations of the CNMI. So with that, I just want to really convey to all who are watching, all our community members that are watching on the media outlets, that your legislature has come through and your legislature has worked together to prevent the shutdown and to bring comfort and to ensure that we have a balanced budget for the fiscal year 2023 so that we can go on with ensuring to improve the quality of lives of our people. So with that said, Mr. President, I yield my time and ready for the main motions and the main question for the passage of this budget bill. Thank you.
Si si floor leader Sablan. Any other member? Recognize Senator Carl King Neighbors.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to reiterate some of the points Chairman Hokuk has already stated, as well as Floor Leader Vinny Sablan. We are extremely appreciative of the hard work that everybody put in on behalf with regards to the legislative staff, Dave Demapan, Jolyn, Devin, Sergeant at Arms, also to you, Mr. President, for putting together the team that was able to come in and work with our colleagues from the House to put together a product that in the end, I feel addressed all the needs and concerns from both houses. We here in the Senate felt as if one of the main components, side and separate from the 80-20 being reverted back to the general fund, was securing and ensuring that the jobs of the people of the CNMI remained, as well as to avert a shutdown. And with all things considered, I think I commend everybody for coming to the table and again completing our task as legislators to pass a balanced budget. So thank you to everyone, and I yield back.
Thank you, Senator Carl King Neighbors. Recognize Senator Francisco Q. Cruz.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President and members of the Senate, I would like to extend and commend the conferees under the leadership of Chairman Hokuk Fiscal Affair for a job well done, and also for from our counterpart from the House for considering the elimination of a 2,103 position throughout the cinema from ARPA funds. Those are restored back, and approximately 94 position from the municipality for the 3 municipality FTEs funded under local funds. Those are restored back to the Senate version, and I appreciate the smooth compromise between the Senate and the House, and not delay the process of this budget 2023, so that our people of the Commonwealth that are working under the government, whether you're under ARPA or local funds, are not having a shutdown and putting their livelihood in jeopardy for not having a pension comes October 1st. So again, I appreciate the leadership of Chairman Hokuk and the 2 conference floor leader Vinny Sablan and Senator Carl Neighbors for a job well done. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Frank Cruz. Recognized again for the second time the chair. Senator Hokuk.
Thank you, Mr. President. And to further ascertain the section in page 6 in the committee report, the Secretary of Finance have provided a written affirmation of the funds that will be made available for the community for the Medicaid, the amount of $7.2 million from the community disaster loan for 2023, and also through his affirmation by his letter signed by the Secretary of Finance that he is committing also 13 million to cover the 25% retirement fund pension, representing the commitment of the administration over and beyond the settlement decree of 75%, and also to assure the 3 branches of government that they will receive operation funds of all others in fiscal year 2023 equally to be the same level as on fiscal year 2022 appropriation. So with that, this letter from the Secretary of Finance will serve as an attachment to the committee report to ensure that the Secretary of Finance and the conference did communicate and agree that there are funding available for this matter. Thank you.
Sizos Masi, Mr. Chairman. Before I see us, Senator, may I ask first we give first recognition to Senator De Leon Guerrero before I go back for a second round. I apologize. The only reason why I recognize Senator Victor Hoko is because I know he's the chair, so he first gets to do. But anyway, recognize Senator De Leon Guerrero.
Thank you, Mr. President. First off, I really want to applaud the conference committee for working hard and coming together to achieve a final product to move forward the Commonwealth so that we do not face a shutdown, that affects the lives of our people. And that's for both the working employees of the government and also the retirees that are living on a fixed income annuity. I do want to applaud also the conference committee for recognizing that everybody's lives matters, that there's no differentiation between who is most important, whether the government employees or the retirees, but everybody's lives matters. And I'm really thankful for that recognition of the conference committee's work. Additionally, my last comment I was looking at the numbers, but I still find comfort in the numbers, but I do want to call it out though. On page 3, it talks about the balance of the FEMA community disaster loan of $36,630, and which the allocation for the retirees 25 pension is $12.8 million. That's on page 3. On page 6, it talks about a $13.5 million, which is a difference of $700,000 between the two numbers. And with the assurances of the Secretary of Finance's letter dated September 29, 2022, labeled as SFL 2022-230, it gives the assurance of $13 million to cover the 25% retirement pension fund for the retirees. Where I find comfort is that it's still within the realm of $13 million. So thank you very much, conference committees, for providing that security. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Sisus Masi, Senator De Leon Guerrero. I recognize Senator Chair Santos.
Thank you, Mr. President. Because we cannot amend, delete, or modify any language or figure in the report because it is considered a final product. I like to commend the chairpersons and conferees of both the Senate and the House for expeditiously facilitating and reaching a compromise version of fiscal year 2023 budget in order for the budget bill to be transmitted immediately to our governor for his review and disposition. We ask our governor to consider acting on this important piece of legislation today to ease the growing concerns of our semi-government employees, our retirees, and their families. I'd also like to extend gratitude to our legal counsels, our LAs, our clerks, our fiscal analysts, sergeant at arms, and all those who assisted during the conference. And of course, you, Mr. President, for your leadership. And with this, I yield for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Santos, for this. Recognize again Senator Francisco Cruz.
Thank you, Mr. President. In addition to my statement earlier, let's not forget also to our hardworking staff, LB staff that are assigned to the Senate. Jolene for making sure that the provision are all there, very clear to understand. A legal counsel for fighting over illegal language that's not supposed to be in the budget. The one subject rule. I appreciate all your guidance in that, and most especially the numbers of the money. The fiscal analysts, thank you for making sure that the numbers it's complete and all there for all senatorial district to enjoy their budget. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Cruz. Flor, before I want to ask the Vice President if you would like to offer comment. Senator JQ.
Yeah, this is Marcy, Mr. President. I do not want to be repetitious with what have been said. I'm really proud of the conference committee in working out with the House conferees in hammering out the major obstacles or amendments from the House that the Senate and the House did not agree upon. However, the final product is a reflection of a compromise is a good way to resolve issues or differences between the two houses. So again, congratulations to the conferees, both the Senate and the House, for looking at the greater good, which is the employees and the community of the CNMI, and not forgetting our retirees. This is Masi, the President.
Thank you, Senator Kitugua. Recognize once again the floor leader, Senator Sablan.
Thank you, President. Just to make sure we're covering all grounds, we gave gratitude and acknowledgement to the staff, and want to also include sincere acknowledgement to and appreciation to our IT person, Jonathan, who ensures that we are on on media, online, and on social media, so that our people can also tune in, and also to our clerk, who always is on standby to do work for us when we're going to go into session. So to all the staff of the Senate, and including your individual staffs of your offices, just sincere gratitude to all of them. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Floor Leader. And before I go for the question, I too would like to take this moment to say a few words. And I quote, in the midst of chaos, there is also opportunity. It's from the favorite, one of my favorite quotes from a gentleman named Sun Tzu. You know, as I was listening to the portion of the conference committee yesterday, and again, just listening to the comments made earlier before the conference committee adjourned, and again the comments being shared just a few minutes ago by every member, I couldn't help but to express my and how proud I am to everyone, both the Senate and the House members, that no matter what the differences is in terms of our philosophical differences, the way we do things, our political division or whatever, what have you, at the end of the day, we have one objective, and that is to deliver to the very people that have put us in office. And I really, really commend both conference chairs for a very smooth conference committee work. All the members have compromised with the provisions, the numbers, and the views, so that we avert a partial and unnecessary shutdown. Just remember, for the viewing public, that not only the government employees that would be affected, other than it's the services also to the non-government employee, when the offices that are declared non-essential cannot extend their services because there was an impasse. But all that is gone now, and I couldn't be more thankful and grateful to everyone that is involved, all the staff that have worked tirelessly to ensure that every cross of the T's and the I's are clear for signature and for adoption, and that our retirees, our government employees, and our other obligations that is mandated by law is able to move forward from here. Again, hats off to everyone involved, to the conference. And I also would like to take this opportunity to specifically recognize the chairman, Senator Victor Hokuk. Thank you for your leadership in the committee and your leadership in the Senate. Especially, this would be your legacy, your final product as a chair, as a member of the Senate, chairing this committee that you delivered to the general public that you represent for so many years. And that's highly commendable on behalf of the people of the Commonwealth and your colleagues here in the legislature. So I want to thank you, sir, for that wisdom and grit and everything else that you've delivered over the last few years. And again, with this product, I would reserve my remaining comments as we still have some sessions coming up. But for this particular important matter before us, the passing of the fiscal year proposal, annual appropriation for FY 2023 is before us. And and for the record, I want to say that this is a yes and no vote. If you approve it, vote yes. If you disapprove it, vote no. and you cannot make any amendments. Okay. So with that, uh, Mr. Chairman,
Thank you, Mr. President. Just prior to calling the roll, I just want to make this last statement that, you know, the product of this conference, I am very confident that this budget bill will walk and make history as it walks and reaches over to the governor's office. I am very confident, Mr. President and members, that House Bill 116 HD2 SS1 CC1 will be making history, as I am very confident that I see no possible position for the governor to do any item veto of the bill. And this I can safely say this because we have addressed every inch of the way that both the executive branch on this particular bill, the House and the Senate, are totally in service, and there was nothing in conflict in approving this bill to send to the governor for his final blessing. Thank you, Mr. President.
thank you, Chairman Hokuk. With that, clerk, please call the roll. Or I'm sorry, floor leader, recognize.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I believe now we are on item P, and that's our bill calendar. And we have one bill in front of us, Mr. President and members, and that is the budget bill. Mhm. The-
Floor, can you give me a, let's have a short recess before you call.
Ay, sa ta proof eh. Okay.
We're back into session. This time the chair recognizes the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. And now I will clarify the motion. And this is Joint Conference Committee Report number 22-02 from the Joint Conference Committee reporting on House Bill number 22-116, HD2 SS1 CCS1 to make appropriations for the operations and activities of the government of the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, its agencies, instrumentalities, and independent programs, and to provide budget authority for government corporations for the fiscal year 2023 and for other purposes. Mr. President and members, I move for its adoption.
There's been a motion reiterating the motion earlier by the floor leader, and it's been seconded. And being no further discussion, clerk, can you please call the roll for the consideration of the passage of Conference Committee Report number 22-2002?
Senator Cruz,
Yes.
Senator De Leon Guerrero,
Yes.
Senator Hoku,
Yes.
Senator King
Yes, with no reservation.
Senator Kiduba, Senator Sablan,
Hungan.
Senator Santos, Mr. President.
Hungan,
Mr. President, all 8 members voting yes.
with 8 members voting yes, the Joint Conference Committee Report number 22-2, reporting on House Bill 22-116 HD2 SS1 is hereby adopted by the Senate in the form of Conference Committee Substitute 1. Thank you. With that, there being no other item before the session before us today, That, ladies and gentlemen, essentially approves and passes the budget for FY 2023 in the Senate. I want to thank everyone again for your participation. And Floor Leader, please offer a motion for adjournment.
President, if I may, under item Q.
Go ahead, Senator Santos.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is just to give gratitude to Director Jacopo for his service to our Sinamay veterans, who has accomplished, among other things, during his tenure as the former Executive Director for the Office of the Veterans Affairs. He was very instrumental in reaching out to the Veterans Affairs Pacific Islands healthcare system in Honolulu to express the importance of providing better healthcare services for our veterans on Rhoda and Tinian, as these services are long overdue. Similarly, he has also worked closely with our Star Marianas Air to ensure that our veterans are reimbursed with their airfare tickets to Saipan for Rhoda and Tinian by the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. And of course, the former director, Jacopo, has also visited Rhoda on several occasions to share and discuss matters of concerns with our Rota veterans. With this, I yield for now, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Santos. And with that, once again, I recognize the floor to offer a motion to adjourn this session.
Thank you, Mr. President. And at this time, I offer a motion to adjourn this emergency session, subject to the call of the President.
It's been a
Second.
motion offered by the floor leader to adjourn this session. It's been seconded. All those in favor to adjourn this special or emergency session, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. This Senate emergency session stands adjourned. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for your participation.